No one was supposed to be there. The set had gone quiet hours ago. Lights were turned off one by one, crew members had packed up, and the hallway outside the dressing rooms echoed with emptiness. Filming for the day was officially over, and everyone had already left. Everyone except Dylan Wang. He had forgotten his phone in the dressing room. Or at least, that was what he told himself as he walked back through the nearly dark corridor. In truth, something had been pulling at him all evening. A feeling he couldn't explain. A restlessness he couldn't shake. As he turned the corner, he heard it. A soft sound, barely louder than breathing. Crying. He stopped in his tracks. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was the kind of crying someone does when they don't want to be heard. The kind that comes from exhaustion, from holding everything in for too long. Dylan followed the sound slowly, his steps careful, until he reached the far end of the hallway. One dressing room door was still open, a faint light spilling onto the floor. Inside, Shen sat alone. She was still in costume, her hair half undone, makeup smudged just enough to reveal how long she'd been holding it together. Her shoulders trembled as she pressed a hand to her face, trying to silence herself. She hadn't noticed him yet. For a moment, Dylan just stood there, frozen. He'd seen her cry on screen countless times. He'd watched her portray heartbreak flawlessly for the camera. But this wasn't acting. This was real. Before we go any further, if you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and stay with us until the end, because what happened in that room changed everything between Dylan Wang and Shen. He knocked lightly on the door. Shen looked up, startled. Her eyes widened when she saw him. "Oh, I thought everyone left," she said quickly, wiping her face and forcing a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Everyone did," Dylan replied softly. "Except you." There was an awkward pause. "I was just tired," she said, standing up too quickly. "Long day." But Dylan knew that tone. He'd heard it before, the voice people use when they're trying to convince themselves more than anyone else. "You don't have to explain," he said. "I just forgot my phone." She nodded, relieved for the excuse, but the silence returned, heavy and uncomfortable. As he reached for his phone on the table, he glanced back at her. Her hands were clenched at her sides. Her eyes were red, and suddenly, the words slipped out before he could stop them. "Did I do something wrong today?" She looked at him, surprised. "What?" "No. Why would you think that?" "I don't know," he admitted. "You've been distant." For a second, she almost laughed. Almost. Then her expression cracked. "It's not you," she whispered. "It's just everything." The words opened a door she'd been holding shut all day. She sat back down slowly, her strength finally giving in. "Do you ever feel like no matter how hard you try, people only see what they want to see?" she asked quietly. Dylan leaned against the counter, listening. "They say I'm always the same," she continued. "Too soft, too predictable. Like I can't be anything else." Her voice trembled again. "I give everything I have, and it still doesn't feel like enough." Dylan felt something tighten in his chest. He'd known Shen as the girl who laughed easily, who apologized even when it wasn't her fault, who worked twice as hard just to prove she deserved her place. But hearing her say it out loud made it different. "You know that's not true," he said. "You're one of the strongest people I know." She shook her head. "That's what people say when they don't really see you." He stepped closer. "I see you." The room fell silent. She looked up at him then, really looked at him. And for the first time that day, she didn't try to hide it. The tears returned, slow and quiet. "I don't want to be strong all the time," she admitted. "I'm tired." Dylan didn't think. He just reacted. He reached out, hesitated for half a second, then gently rested his hand over hers. She didn't pull away. "You don't have to be strong here," he said. "Not with me." That was the moment everything shifted. Not because of a confession, not because of a dramatic gesture, but because for the first time, Shen allowed herself to lean into someone else's presence without fear. And Dylan realized something that scared him more than any rumor ever could. He didn't just care. He cared too much. He did not say her name right away. Dylan just stood there for a second, letting the door close softly behind him, letting the noise of the set fade into a distant hum. Shen wiped her face quickly, embarrassed at being seen, but the damage was already done. Her shoulders were shaking, and the script lay forgotten on the floor between them. "I was looking for you," he said quietly. That was all it took. She looked up, eyes red, lips pressed together as if holding back everything she had been swallowing all day. The moment their eyes met, something inside her finally gave way. She turned her face aside, but a quiet sob escaped before she could stop it. Dylan crossed the room in 2 steps. He did not touch her at first. He crouched down in front of her, lowering himself to her level, his voice softer than she had ever heard it on set. "Did something happen?" he asked. "Or is this everything finally catching up to you?" Shen laughed weakly through her tears. "You always know," she said. "I don't even know how you know, but you always do." He picked up the script from the floor and placed it on the table, as if removing even that small weight from her. Then he sat beside her, close enough that their shoulders nearly touched. "If you've made it this far into the story," he said gently, "stay with us. And don't forget to like and subscribe. You'll want to hear what happened next." She glanced at him, surprised by the familiar tone, then smiled faintly despite herself. "It's just one of those days," she said. "Everyone expects me to be cheerful all the time, even when I'm exhausted, even when I feel like I'm not good enough anymore." Dylan's jaw tightened. "Who made you feel that way?" he asked. She shook her head. "No one person. Just the pressure, the comments, the expectations. Sometimes I feel like if I stop smiling, even for a moment, I'll disappoint everyone." He leaned back, staring at the ceiling for a long second, then exhaled. "You know," he said, "people think confidence comes from never doubting yourself. That's not true. It comes from choosing to stand up again, even when you're tired of standing." She listened quietly. "I've had days like that too," he continued. "Days where I wondered if anyone would notice if I disappeared for a while. The difference is, I didn't have to smile through it the way you do." Shenyu's eyes filled again, but this time the tears were slower, heavier. "I didn't want you to see me like this," she admitted. "I'm glad I did," he replied, "because now you're not alone with it." For a while they just sat there. No cameras, no crew, no scripts, just 2 people sharing a rare moment of honesty behind the scenes. Then footsteps echoed faintly outside the door. Shenyu stiffened. "We should go back," she said. "They're probably looking for us." "In a minute," Dylan said. "You're still shaking." Without asking, he took off his jacket and draped it gently over her shoulders. She froze for half a second, then relaxed into it, breathing in the faint scent of detergent and something unmistakably his. "Thank you," she whispered. When they finally returned to set, something had shifted. The crew noticed it first. Dylan stayed close to her between takes, offering quiet words, handing her water before she could ask. Shenyu seemed calmer, more grounded, her smile no longer forced. It was softer now, real. During the next scene, their chemistry was different. Not louder, not more dramatic, just deeper. Every glance lingered a fraction longer. Every pause carried weight. The director called cut and stared at the monitor in silence. "That," he finally said, "was the best take today." As the day wrapped up, Shenyu pulled Dylan aside. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. "For earlier. For not trying to fix me. Just for being there." He smiled, that familiar, easy smile that fans adored, but there was something more personal behind it now. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "Just promise me one thing." "What?" "Next time it gets too heavy," he said, "don't cry alone." She nodded. Later that night, long after the lights were off and the set was empty, Shenyu received a message on her phone. "You did great today. Rest well." She stared at the screen for a long time before typing back. "So did you. Thank you for finding me." Outside his trailer, Dylan looked at her reply and smiled to himself. Some reunions were loud, some were dramatic, and some, like this one, changed everything quietly when no one was watching. If you've made it this far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who needs a reminder that even the brightest smiles need support sometimes.